So this, again, is something we created for federal highways and our users of federal aid funds. That's the state, that's the locals, that's consultants, anybody involved with federal aid funds. That was a cradle to grave process. Was that similar to, as you guys understand, cradle to grave? So I just wanted to let you know that everything you saw there, probably 99% of it, is still required as part of design build projects. And we'll get into each one a little more detail for, in the rest of our presentation today and tomorrow. So any questions as far as what you heard so far? Okay, so going around the room, how many people would you say you're planners? Any planners in here? Okay, how many environmental? Okay, how many design? Okay, how many right-of-way? Okay, how many construction? Oh, all right, good. How about maintenance operations? Okay, so thanks for the show of hands. Okay, so question is, with design build, design bid build, how would you say the communication are between the 6 different groups I mentioned? Would you say they're all thumbs up? Depends who I'm talking to, or it's in the tank? How many say thumbs up? How many say it's so-so? Okay, here's your third option. How many say it's in the tank? And I can ask Will, Leah, and Linda to leave. Laura, okay, Laura, okay, sorry. So the idea is with design bid build versus design build means what as far as those 6 groups? You are all project managers. Does everybody agree with that statement? To some level. So the key is, if you're a subject matter expert in environment, do you need to know about design and construction? Absolutely. If you're in construction, do you need to know about planning and environment? Absolutely. So that's, again, with you guys breaking up the table, does it help give you a better idea of maybe things within your own group? You're the core, but recognize everybody else are your eyes and ears to help feed you input to give you those ideas. Okay, so does everybody sort of see how design bid build and design build work together now? It's critical that you network. People that haven't done very well in design build, how would you say their networking is? Typically, if you don't talk, you're going to be in the tank. So it's really, you got to do it. You know, don't be afraid. If you got a question, you got to ask. Okay? So with that said, this is something we created within our federal highways program when we say construction program management, that want you to just look at that. And again, notice it's got the 6 headings. So look at it, and for each category, just take a few 15, 20 seconds and just sort of run your thinking where you think your percent would be.
For the department as a whole or as individual?
I'm sorry?
When you say rate your self-assessment, are we doing a self-assessment for us as individuals or the department?
No, here. Self-assessment, individuals. Individualize. Again, since you've broken out into groups, I'd say if you're an environmental person, you'd rate yourself high, but maybe lower in the other, and vice versa. Okay, so has everybody sort of got a mental look at what you're seeing and how you sort of rate yourself? Okay, so why is that important to understand under design build? If you've been in design bid build a long time and you're only an expert in one area, have you lost opportunity for other improvement areas? Or, I know when I first joined Federal Highways, there used to be what I call a lot of kicking the can down the road and throwing the book over to the next cubicle and it's their problem. Under design build, you can't do that. It's got to stop if you got any inkling of that. So the idea is, again, communicate. Look at it like a learning curve. We all have our own learning curve. We all have our own interest. But again, there's other people, and Jerry mentioned that. Everybody is probably somewhere in the crowd. There's always at least 1 or 2 people that has already been there, done that, but you've got to figure out who that is. So somehow you got to break the ice with that group and help get that communication. Big design build, is that not what we're doing with industry? We're trying to bring them back into the process to get them acquainted with the process and make them to act on your behalf in essence, to where they're actually certifying themselves informed, which should release your time and effort, because as they develop that, that gives you additional time and resources in essence to break loose for other things and focus in on more complex priority issues. Okay, so does everybody sort of see how that works, or at least the philosophy? Okay, so again, the idea is here's a self-assessment, just something to think about. Hopefully by tomorrow, each of you will have moved up at least 1% in one area, and all areas preferred, more the better. But over time, as a career path, everybody on my team over the years, I give that to them, every personal performance plan, annual rating, they better have something there that they're working on to raise it. Because that's, as a career, don't just sit there and dry out. Will?
Question, have you ever, or heard of anybody ever doing this analysis where they had folks rate other divisions within?
That's sort of a step two, because just getting people to do a self-assessment and giving a true rating of themselves, because the next step there, in line with what you're bringing up, would be, hey, does your supervisor agree with your self-assessment? So ask yourself that. Pam?
I mean, I was looking at this from the issue of trust. If I rate myself, I'm awesome, and I don't know where awesome is on your list there, but say I rate myself, but I don't rate my other groups, it becomes an issue of trust.
Sure.
If you don't trust my other divisions, I can't let stuff go.
Sure. No. And it's something like everything else. The big thing, like design, build, just starting, you're taking baby steps, things will evolve, things shake loose one way or the other, and it gets back to, for federal highways, RBSO type stuff. It's all, you can throw in the latest words of risk into it, and it gets back to risk is based upon the criteria that you've established to rate that subjectivity of that topic. So everybody's got their own spin on how they read it, right? And that's again the big thing on communication. You've got to talk to each other. Because the big thing on design build, as an example, as we went around and did a national review on design build projects a couple years ago, we went to 5 states and quickly found out that the acronyms used in the states may be the same, but they have a 180 difference analogy, and that's why we'll talk more about quality assurance tomorrow. So unless you ask those turn over a few more stones, you may get led down that yellow brick road and misled. So you never stop being inquisitive. And that's with design build. The beauty of that is you're sort of in control of your own destiny, but you need to at least have an idea where the light is at the end of the tunnel. And as Jerry said, if you want to put it in the plans to get there. If you just let the contractor based upon minimal criteria, say, well, we see the light, but we don't know how to get there, how do you think your project's going to end up? You're probably not going to get what you wanted. So again, just something to think of as far as philosophy. Okay, so any questions on that so far? Does everybody agree with me? Let me ask that. Okay, how many agree with me? How many go, this guy's messed up? Okay, how many just say, hey, I'll go talk to my wife and she'll let me know? All right, moving on.